Now let's be fair, if it comes to the Game Awards itself, the Game Awards is truly known for three specific things. The one thing is that it is the day that Jeff Keighley can hang out with his BFF Hideo Kojima. He's trying to hype up every single thing he tries to do while not showing actual gameplay, but just trying to hype up because yeah, it's Hideo Kojima. The second thing is that the overcompensation of superstars out there who has no place to do in the video game industry, but they are there just for Hollywood cloud and to promote their new drinks like The Rock. And the third thing that Jeff Keighley is known ever comes to the Game Awards, it's that he wants to portray himself as the only person within the game industry has the full right to be called or to be shown as the industry that represent the Game Awards itself, the game industry. And once again, every single year we are sitting in front of a TV and we are trying to see the game that we love, that we enjoyed over the year, can be represented and of course be honored in a proper way. And every single year we are always going to be disappointed, and we are always disappointed. And this year is the same thing. The internet was completely in flames, but just by seeing the nomination has been called out from the Game Awards itself. And the funny thing is that in the same period and the same time, the Joystick Award itself announced his Game of the Year. At least they call it the Ultimate Game of the Year. And those nominations were Silent Hill 2, Metaphor, Refantasia, Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Black Myth Wukong. And the fascinating thing is that if it comes to the Joystick Award itself that based himself in London, Black Myth Wukong won the Ultimate Game of the Year itself. And a fascinating thing. Now, if it comes to the Game Awards itself, the Game Awards this year managed to nominate himself their lineup of games that they consider as the best games within the market itself. Within the market that they found in the United States, is Asteroid Boy was nominated, Balastro, and a poker game, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and of course, Metaphor Refantasia. Now, the thing is that right now, if it comes to the gaming industry, the game that's truly has been on the spotlights is the Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth 3. That's the day we're going to start to speak about if it truly is a game that deserves to win for the second time Game of the Year. Now, Shadow of the Earth 3 by itself is a fantastic DLC itself. It's a massive DLC, or above 30 hours of gameplay and beautiful leveling design. The thing is about Shadow of the Earth 3, it came out with the necessary form of heaps of problems left and right. Of course, stability problems and of course performance problems that was lingering itself mostly on the PC port itself. And the very first release of the Shadow of the Earth 3, the reviews of the game itself was severely negatively bombed, not only because of the difficulty level itself, it was resistant itself within the DLC itself, but just a simple accessibility. You need to remember that Shadow of the Earth 3, for you to be able to have access towards the game itself, you had to beat two specific bosses. Now, the Elden Ring is an extension of the base game itself. Now, that's the thing that a lot of people are trying to highlight. How it's possible that DLC like this has been nominated as Game of the Year. As you know, that is an extension of the base game itself. It's not a standalone item, it's not a standalone IP. Yes, it's a massive DLC itself, it's a massive experience that you're having, and it's a beautiful experience. Even though it has a problem like we mentioned before, it's still a game for you to be able to play it, and you have access towards certain form of scenarios. So you need to beat certain form of bosses, specifically two unique bosses you need to be able to beat for you to be able to have access towards the DLC itself. So if you're not a veteran or not knowledgeable of the DLC itself, of the game, of the base game itself, you will never have access towards the DLC. So a lot of players, a lot of gamers around the world have been highlighting this problem, that why is this game nominated, where in the previous cases like games like Cyberpunk, who had a completely overhaul of this universe itself with a new mechanics, new DLC. The whole thing changed completely when the DLC dropped from Cyberpunk 2077, who really revamped the game completely to the new level. It never got nominated as a Game of the Year. Now, because of the controversy that happens within the Western world, most importantly in the United States itself, when it comes to work agenda, gender politics, and etc., people are trying to find out that these type of discussions that is highlighting the daily social life of the people within America itself, that games like Stellar Blades, Space Marine 2, Black Myth Wukong, and of course many other games have been put in the shell just because of the politics statements that they don't try to engage in. So a lot of people are starting to feel like that the Game Awards is still one big sham, and that the Game Awards is not really representing what was supposed to be representing, is that our love for game itself in a most objective way. Now, what I think personally, in my personal case, in all of this, does the Elden Ring truly deserve to win the Game of the Year? I'm gonna say, to be objective as much as possible, and my take on all of this is, of course, no. The Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth 3 is a beautiful DLC and is a massive expansion, but it does not deserve to win the Game of the Year. Does it need to be nominated in certain form of category? 100% yes. There are hundreds and thousands of categories that Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth 3 can be nominated towards to. For example, the best game expansion of the year itself, best overall RPG of the game itself, anything else, but not a game that's supposed to be a standalone feature from itself and in brand new years. The official nomination of the games that was supposed to be Game of the Year, I'm always gonna state it, it's gonna be Stellar Blade, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, and of course Final Fantasy, and of course Metaphor. These are the 5 games that were supposed to be the games that is represented as a form of the most innovative and the most unique experience that we have played this year itself. And every single one of these games as mentioned is unique and is different from one another. Of course, there are 1,000 more games I didn't nominate, and my personal take if it comes to who deserve Game of the Years. We have also games like Helldivers 2, even though it had a very rough after launch starts, it really redeemed himself, it really listened to his community in a proper way, and for me personally, it deserved to win, for example, a title as Best Multiplayer Game. If it comes to Final Fantasy case itself, I don't find it deserved to win Game of the Year, but it does deserve to win the Best Storytelling Game of the Year itself, and of course together with Stellar Blade, that game deserved to win the Best Soundtrack, because I firmly find games like Stellar Blade brought us to one of those memorable and unique soundtracks in video game history itself. Just the beat, the flow of Stellar Blade was simply immaculate. Games like Ballator, the 100% deserve to win Best Ending Games, and of course Black Myth Wukong deserve to win the Best Visual Game Design, just in generally. There are 100 more categories that we should nominate and should put games together, but Game of the Year, the official Game of the Year, that should be the game that we all praised, that all saw and all enjoyed from start to finish. It must be between Stellar Blade and Black Myth Wukong. Now, the question is here, of course, should you as a gamer take the Game Awards remotely serious? My answer is simply no. If you just take the Game Awards nomination of the Game of the Year, and of course the best game direction itself, these two categories are literally the same. The only thing that these two have done is simply copy paste Central V one page to another. They didn't even try to do in any form of journalistic, even try to be objective as possible, and try to give us a proper nomination itself. And this is simply a sad thing. From these games that we've been seeing right now, for example, Ballastrio, it is a very fun game, don't get me wrong. It's a very addictive game. It's one of those games, it's so addictive, it's like a line of coke. The moment you use it, you guys are hooked on it. It's ridiculously addictive, the game. But does it deserve Game of the Year? No. Does it deserve probably one of the best ending games? Yeah, definitely, because it's that fucking lot of fun. Ballastrio itself. And the list go on and on and on and on and on. The one thing I found it very remarkable in this entire debacle, the entire situation right here, is that games like Stellar Blades and Black Myth Wukong have even been considered to be nominated. Beside all the controversy that have been happening surrounding these two specific games itself, when it comes to gender politics and the politics around it, I find it fascinating that they even dared to nominate these games to begin with. From seeing in certain categories that they are nominating games like Dragon Age, I was wondering myself, why we don't have Concord in this entire list right now? Because let us be fair, this entire Game of the Year nomination is simply a big fraud. Astro Boy is going to be one of the games going to win the most nominations, because it's simply one of those games that is acceptable to the general public itself, not to vex people if it comes to if Shadow of the Earth 2 wins again, if the Elden Ring wins again for the second time Game of the Year. That means that why is Cyberpunk not even here in this category if the DLC is supposed to be something that is accessible and winning Game of the Year itself? Hey, you even have games like Yakuza, for example, is also a very good game. So why these type of games are not nominated? So I think Astro Boy is probably going to be the game is going to win the most of the nomination itself, because it's simply an acceptable choice to begin with. But do I personally agree with them? No. Is it a fun game, Astro Boy? Yes, it's a good platform game. But it's not a game of the year. It's not a groundbreaking game. It didn't do anything groundbreaking about it. It's a fun, okay game. Let's be fair on it. The one that truly deserved in this category is, of course, Batman Wukong. But I'm not trying to be biased about it. But when it comes to leveling design, world design, gameplay, the music's art style, everything, Batman Wukong was simply immaculate. But who's truly deserved to win Game of the Year from my perspective? For my personal choice, even though I'm a hardcore Dark Souls and a Soulsborne gamer itself, I do not think it's supposed to be Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth 3 to begin with. But my personal choice is, of course, Stellar Blade. The game I have the most fun this year and playing just generally, it was Stellar Blade. If it comes to leveling design, art design, and simply the fun factor around it, I'm playing with a stunning beauty like Eve. I had the most fun playing with Stellar Blade, but it is my choice. What do you think of all of this? What do you think? That is, of course, your choice of Game of the Year. Who do you think actually was supposed to be the 5 nomination of the Game of the Year itself if it comes to 2024? Give me your thoughts and the feedback in the comments down below. I'm very curious to see what the community thinks about the entire situation right now. And to be fair, should the Game Awards just be cancelled as in general, because I found it stupid that journalists cannot be objective anymore in the decision making itself if it comes to trying to make decisions into things that we love so much, and try to present a community and a group of community as we as gamer in the most objective way, because these nominations are simply not objective to begin with. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below which are your nomination of the Game of the Year, or who do you think should win Game of the Year itself. I'm always I'm pleasant to hear. I'm your host, the Ashenlord itself. Thank you very much for listening. Hope I can see you all very soon on the next one. Take care. One love only. And don't forget, gamers, game on. Peace.